This is the hello everyone. This is
Hello.
welcome to the 35th episode of DevKami, and I am Chiliang.
And I'm Tristan.
And I am, what's my name again? Oh, yeah, gaming. I forget. How on earth?
Yeah.
All right, so as usual, what happened soon?
Yes, let's go to devkami.com/meetups. Let's open that.
Yep. So as usual, we had a meetup page, which we'll see all the time. It's curated by human.
Yep.
So yeah.
So,
We had
what's the next one? Today is the
Saturday.
30th, so tomorrow is a global virtual hackathon.
what is this? I do not know what is this.
I think it's a webinar for
For
one
a
of
global virtual
Okay.
hackathon. So if you're into the hackathon, I
Yeah.
think I feel I'm too old for hackathons.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm too old for this shit.
yeah,
I think we went through this.
yeah, I used to go to the Angel Hacks since
Yeah.
2012, but
Yes.
and joined a lot of them. But I feel that doing a hackathon every year for like it's like 24 hours straight, right? It's not
Yes.
very good for the health. But the thing is, there are these hackathons which are 3-day hackathons, which you only do it at night, and
Yes.
that doesn't make sense because it's not a hackathon, it's not fun. But the fun marathon hackathon type is fun, but I feel that my body can't handle it
Yeah.
anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, so it's virtual hackathon, I guess.
by
So
by Angel Hack.
mm. Well, there's also another hackathon happening on Saturday. It's the
Yeah.
Flutter
Yeah, Flutter
hackathon.
Hackathon. Do you know about it?
I know
It's the
about
URL called
Flutter.
flutter.com.
I know Flutter, but it was also announced. A new version was announced during Google I/O,
Mm.
but I
Uh-huh.
haven't really played around with
The one
Flutter.
that gonna support web.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
so if I knew more about Flutter, I might be joining, but probably not.
Yep.
And it's not a full 24 hour. It's just
uh,
one day.
just one.
Yep.
I think it's just something like
Mm,
a meetup, meetup and hack
yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like more like a hack together than a hackathon,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I
Thing.
guess if you're interested in Flutter, then sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Then finally we had a PyTorch introduction. I do not know
Yeah.
who. I
Yeah.
PyTorch introduction. It's
think
actually
for the whole week, other than Hari Raya.
Mm. What is PyTorch?
PyTorch is
PyTorch
yeah.
is an alternative to TensorFlow for building neural network.
It's by
Very
it's
very popular among the research scene.
it's actually
Uh,
from Facebook, right?
Actually, not true, but Facebook endorsed it very heavily because one of the creator for it is one of the creator, also one of the Likun. I think he's the one behind PyTorch.
Mm.
As a
Oh,
result, I think Facebook adopted it.
is it different from Jupyter, or maybe I'm just confusing
No.
things?
PyTorch is PyTorch is the equivalent for TensorFlow.
Ah, okay, got it. Yeah.
So TensorFlow is have their own way to do things. PyTorch have a very different way to do things.
So,
Both
will this
yes.
work with the Jetson Nano, you think?
Yes.
Mm.
I believe this is the one that works well for all. And they got a lot. They got quite a number of flowing, especially the researchers. And it already support. They had as good support for hardware, if not better, than TensorFlow.
Okay.
I did try PyTorch before. I actually bought. I'm not a machine learning guy, but I'm just sometimes I just go around and test this kind of libraries. I actually prefer PyTorch because it seems less magical. There's more like low level kind of access to things that I'm gonna do. So
Swimming, do you know if this will work with the M5 stack? MicroPython?
This did not work, but there's a big but here. Remember the OpenMV camera I have about?
Yep.
So what happened is the training is done on PyTorch, and they use PyTorch, the output generated from PyTorch, then to be reused on the M5 OpenMV camera.
Okay, so it's not directly running, but it's like you can connect things to it.
Correct.
Okay, that's good.
Uh, on microcontroller, you do not run your inference directly on that. What you do is you get a model file,
Mm-hmm.
then you use your model file to do things. It's like serialization, except it's a bit more weird. So that's how
Mm-hmm.
we say it. So, and
Okay.
then next week,
And
there's
yeah,
an Hari
next
Raya.
week, yeah, next week is Hari Raya, not a lot of things. Although the
Yes.
previous week, I guess we just need to shout it out because we missed a DevKami episode last week because
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh
what happened.
yeah,
Everyone was just
that's
getting sick. Just a
yeah.
shout out for the DevOps Malaysia
Mm-hmm.
on like last Tuesday.
Correct.
And then
And
there
Junior
was
Dev.
the Maxis IoT introduction
Yeah.
roadshow, which
Yep.
I don't know if that was so effective because
Mm.
um, I don't know. Are we submitting something?
Do we want to?
I don't know. Maybe we should just submit something. If we get shortlisted, cool.
Yeah.
We get the stuff right. Let's just think of something and then submit
Well,
something.
yeah, we should
Why
talk
not,
about this
right?
more after this, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
Then
then
also Junior Dev.
yeah, there was Junior Dev Tuesday.
Yeah.
That was at Microsoft, right? So that was
Correct.
becoming more and more. Oh no, sorry, Google. That was Google.
Yeah. Google is
Junior Dev was at Google, yeah.
yes.
And
So
then JavaScript was on AWS on Amazon.
mhm.
Yeah.
As I say,
Hmm.
the Bangsa area, we should just call it the valley.
It's
So
the incubation area where the meetups, like-minded people come together and talk,
correct.
and amazing stuff happens.
So that said, I think that's the event we have for a while
Mm-hmm.
until the next after Raya.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing a Raya show because we have our show is on second day of Raya? Not that
I don't
I'll
not
be
mind.
that we celebrate it, right?
I'll be somewhere else, but I can join in.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Okay, let's see.
So and
Otherwise, we'll just see a video of Seeming apologizing
Uh,
that we're not
yes,
having
again.
actually,
a show.
we actually get a lot more views for the apology video, and
Okay.
our wish podcast show. Yeah,
All
Mhm.
right. So that being said, I think we should move on to the interesting thing that's happening.
yeah. Bus corner.
Mm.
Do we
Buzz
start from
Corner.
Salesforce?
Yeah,
Do we start from Salesforce area, or do we want to go a bit ahead?
it was just.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
the one that are interesting to us. I mean, it's mainly
Well,
for
I think the
ourselves.
Salesforce one is interesting because I think it's a long time back that is supposed to we should cover it last week. So what happened
Yeah.
is Salesforce actually give access to certain people. So now all the admin of Salesforce product have admin to all the site. So it's a big snafu. So what happened is
Mhm.
they have to reset the account, revoke the access. Then turns out there is more work than it does. Then I think it's a whole week downtime or something. It's pretty bad. So have you? I don't think Salesforce released after action report, but I think it's really interesting what happening on the Salesforce database issue.
Mm. I personally haven't had any experience with the Salesforce.
No.
Do you call it a database? I don't even know what it is. I mean, I know what it is. I just don't know what the actual stack is.
Okay. Then the next one, I'm going to take over this one because the next one because it's my favorite topic. The next one is
Okay.
uh, if you use Windows 10 if you have the May 2019 update, you get Python by default.
Okay. It's
So
which version? That's the important question, right? Which version?
I think chances it should be 3 because
Okay.
there are no one because we had a dead clock for Python already. So the dead clock is the dead clock 20. From the article from Microsoft, it's 3.7, the latest and greatest. And it'll be native Python or Windows.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe they want to play it safe and just put 2.7. Because
No, 3.7.
Oh, 3.7 now.
Fun
Okay.
fact: I'm on Windows right now, and I'm on May 2019 patch, and yeah, it's 3.7.1.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Oh, they install it. Yeah.
So in fact, they already have request. Apparently, they have requests and order a few library there already. So either way, I think this is interesting because it's the first time. It's the first time that I know of. Microsoft comes with a language on the operating system that is open source, at least open source.
Yeah.
Previously, they have. I don't think .NET. You only have runtime, but not the compiler. And we have QBasic on Windows for some time. It's a pretty well hidden. So, but this is proprietary. But this is the first time that I know they use their Python comes right by default, which to me is interesting in quite a number of ways. Whether people will use it fully, I do not know. But at least for enterprise environment, it make life easy because if you do data science in banking, you don't actually have a lot of choice, really. Especially the IT environment can be conservative. That's my 2 cents about Python, which is why I'm really excited. So I think, yes.
Do you have anything more interesting one? There are a few, but I have actually no idea.
Yeah.
Then there is Python Nginx 1.16 and 1.17. TLS 1.3 support and all that. But I don't think there's anything interesting now, right?
No.
Facebook had an article on how to deploy TLS 1.3 at scale using FIS. And that's it. I think we should move on. What's the topic that we're going to talk today? No, actually, before that, what happened with you, Tristan?
Yeah,
I have
that is the top part of the topic today.
I have Bell's palsy.
Okay.
It's
can you explain?
A nerve thing. So it's interesting because we're doing electronics, right? So it's as if your circuit has a really large resistor suddenly in the middle. And so now current is very, very small. And so it's not enough to activate the muscles. So actually the left side of my face is, I can feel it because skin has a different nerve ending, right? But the muscle to actuate, to move it doesn't move. So if I smile, like really smile, it doesn't do anything.
Okay.
And I have an eye patch because I can't close I can blink, but I cannot like close it. So for example, when you wash your face, water gets in, or like if you close your eyes, air still gets in because you cannot close it. So apparently, and it's interesting because you understand now all the different, like where the nerves go through, right? Like the nerves that control your eyelids are different from the ones that control your eyebrows. They're not from the same nerve. And so the nerve actually goes through the ear, through a small opening in the skull. And apparently I have some swelling over there. And so it's like pinching the nerve. And so none of the electrical signals from the brain goes through.
So
and what's interesting is that Chi Leong saw me Tuesday night. Like when I was complaining, like I couldn't do like like do I
feel
look
a bit numb,
different? Well, not numb. The skin is like there is skin sensation, but I couldn't move stuff.
Okay.
Like I was trying to do
But
something.
it wasn't
and
that serious yet.
It wasn't that serious. This is like the height of it, because that's like when the signals are just not there. The swelling is like at its largest.
I just glad it's not stroke.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's why I was afraid that night as well.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because I almost have something like you, but it's not as serious as in I still can move my face. This is how I end up on long-term medication because my blood pressure goes all the way up to 190.
Wow, that's high.
I almost died. Just kidding, I did. But I have serious family history. But either way, back to your little.
We're actually talking to AI version of Simeng. He uploaded his consciousness to a machine, and he's been upgrading himself ever since. Yeah. That's actually the story of Simeng.
What you're talking about different nerve in different place, is actually a basis of robotics. How people define. Okay, so when people try to understand how human works to define machine, they actually discovered that, for example, I have their own subsystem. It's not processed directly to the
That is
brain.
why the pseudoscience thing about like we only use like a very small part of the brain. It's
Yeah.
actually wrong because all these are actually done behind the scene for us. All this processing power are being
Correct.
used to control every single thing, small things that
Correct.
we take for granted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and also how people realize that there is subsystem in the brain and different nerve system, and there is actually a basis how people decided how to build robots. So as a result, you have subsystem for arm, subsystem for head, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So people realize that you don't need a big box, and it's somewhat analogous to how we design software nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from
Also,
that, but
are you saying that the human body is a microservice architecture?
precisely, you're
Is
not
that
wrong.
it?
Which is why when you lost a hand, you don't destroy. You
Yeah.
can still work. Notice that.
Okay.
But
Okay,
when you had stroke,
that's a very
it's part of your brain that actually some days the CPU had some circuit error.
Mhm.
So that's the analogy of computers and
so your
neuroscience.
head is like your database.
No, think CPU with caches, very big
Okay.
caches.
Okay.
And then so that means your reflex actions are like edge computing devices that
Yeah,
does their own
precisely.
thing and then just report back the result. Okay.
Correct. So,
Okay.
so how long does it take for you to get better? You
They
know?
say 3 weeks to full recovery, but the next few days would be the worst. So
Okay.
I feel it's like just less and less movement now.
Okay.
It's like
Well, I hope you
progressively.
manage to do DevKami next week. Don't
I
worry
think
about
I
that. We
can.
always
Yeah.
should include.
I mean, I can still function. Again, eating is a bit difficult because this half of the lip doesn't close
Mhm,
properly. So like I just dribble everywhere. Like I'm a stroke
mhm,
victim, right? So it's just like so I have to adjust like how you eat, how
mhm,
you drink. Like I keep on spilling
mhm,
drinks, for example. So I have to do it specially
Mm,
because, like
mhm.
you said, taking for granted all of these learned
yeah.
movements
Yeah.
is
Yes.
um so once you get these things taken away from you, you start becoming more mindful and start like appreciating the fact that, oh, I've been doing this all my life, now I can't do it.
Yeah.
How do you do it? And you have to think about it, and then for some reason, I don't know, I hopefully this turns out to be something enlightening in the end. It
Yeah,
might be
I think it will
interesting.
be a good experience. Then we should start playing badminton together for exercises.
Well, so the problem with badminton is that again, I can't close my eyes, so I have to
Yeah.
wear the eye patch. And if you have one eye covered, then you don't have 3D vision. Like you don't have
Yeah.
I can't pronounce
Okay.
peace properly. So depth perception,
Yeah.
and so I won't be able to hit the shuttlecock.
Yeah.
That's the problem there. I can't
Yeah.
even
It's a.
like reach properly. Good thing I can touch type because I
Uh-huh.
don't know where my hands end up on the keyboard. I just need to
Right.
touch it first and then touch type. Otherwise I
Okay.
won't be able to work at all if I have to like do the thing. Oh yeah, sorry, there was a question.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce this?
I love.
Alakutubak
Yeah.
says, does it impact hearing on that
Yeah.
side? No, it doesn't. The neurologist, I just came from the neurologist this afternoon. He was doing the testing of the hearing is fine, but so that tuning fork that he was doing has like the ball at the end, right? And you can do something like a bone conduction test where you hit the tuning fork and it conducts on your bone. The right side works, bone conduction on the left side doesn't.
Mm.
So it looks like something is absorbing the um the the vibrations, like too much fluid probably because of the swelling
Mm.
probably. So
Okay.
that's the issue there.
Right.
I guess that's how he confirmed that it's bells and it's not like a brain problem because like at least the diagnosis, like the symptoms point towards swelling on the part of the nerve system, the skull, the nerve system that gets pinched for the Bell's palsy diagnosis. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. So Chris Lowe is saying Donaldson
So I
got
think
that
what the guesses we
before.
have. Yeah, I think he have something slightly different, but I chance it he is. But he also take a lot of sugar, and sugar actually Too much sugar actually dulls your nerve, which is why people with diabetes actually do not notice that their muscle are rotting because the sugar dulls your nerve. Do not eat too much sugar to cover health. And everybody are welcome to join to our badminton session that I'm managing right now.
Intervention.
I do have a badminton set, but last time I touched it was 5 years ago.
I also have one. Like
I don't have one, but let's
the
do it.
aspirational set, right? Like I'm going to use it someday.
Yeah.
Just like all of my shirts that are a size too small for me now,
Yeah.
because eventually I will get fit enough. I will fit in those clothes.
That goes with my pants as well. I'm not throwing it away because someday I'll fit it.
Yeah.
Nicholas is asking if you go again. Yes, I think.
Yeah, statistically, like 70% of the cases recover from 3 weeks to 6 months.
Okay.
Of course, that's statistically the statistical likelihood. I might fall into the 30% where there might be some residual like damage. I don't know. We'll see. One of my friends had it, and she actually had like residual. So it recovered, but you can see that it's not as flexible as the other side of her face. So that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll find out. I have another appointment in 3 weeks in June. So with the same neurologist. So we'll see what he thinks, if I'm going to recover or not, or do I have to do some
Training,
physiotherapy? Yeah, to make sure that I can do it. Do I have to do surgery? We'll never know.
Okay. All the best to you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Get well soon, man.
Well, yeah,
because
we'll
turns
see.
out that DevKami is a health hazard.
Yeah, you are patient zero. You started everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That being said, also today is about you discovering things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I named the title complexity, but sort of it's actually matched the title because the human muscle and signaling is pretty complex.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So
that's why it's actually very hard to build a cyber.
Let's talk about like one of the projects we've been running on recently, the KL Haze Watch. Do you have any updates?
Yeah. Well, it's
go.
Yeah. So this ties into the complexity topic that we have. So remember when I was saying, okay, it had so these are the specs, right? The requirements. It has to be outside because you have to you want preferably to measure the haze outside the building instead of what is indoor, because there's usually no haze indoors. But the problem is my building has this system of windows where it's completely sealed off. Like there's no ledges and there are no panes of glass, so it's like a single panel glass with like a small window. And so that means I cannot run a wire from inside to outside, because that means like if it rains, things will get like it will be humid inside the office, or like air conditioning will go out. So it needs to be completely sealed from outside to inside. And what so so it was already working, the prototype was already working, but now these are the new requirements. And I was thinking, okay, now I need to have a larger battery, and I was testing the current and the like performance for low power. And then, oh no, this own like projections will only show that it will run a maximum of 3 days before I have to bring it in and recharge it. And I don't really want to do that, because like I might not be able to do that. Like it's just a hassle to do that, right? So I was playing around with solar panels, and then the problem with solar panels is that depending on the time of day, the voltage will be very high, and so you need to like step that down, and then there will be very low, and then you can't even charge the battery and all of these things. So now you probably have like different, like a larger solar panel with like a different battery to charge the battery that's inside. And so it really became complex, like as I was drawing the circuit. And then I realized that I went back to what the problem was, right? Like where I need to transfer power from inside the building to outside the building, because I cannot run a wire. And so why not do it wirelessly? And so I found this. This is an Electreaks induction wireless transfer. So you have your I think this is the receiver and this is the sender. And so I just realized I can just put this outside, waterproof it, put this inside, do that through the pane of glass, and that will work perfectly. I don't need to battery. I don't need all of these. I have like a step up and a step down converter for different voltages with a battery, just so that I can do it like very low power. So I don't even now have to worry about low power. I just need to find out how to do the transfer, the wireless charging, and this works. This is a 5 volt. It's exactly what the ESP32 needs, and I can put the 5 volts out to the sensor, which runs on 5 volts, and it makes everything so simple. And so that keeps the complexity very low, less moving parts, and it actually goes back to the root of what I was trying to solve, which is like how to transfer electricity through the glass. I can't use a wire, so might as well use wireless, like
Mhm.
induction charging. Yeah,
Cool.
so
That's a
that's
very
my
cool
story.
design.
That's the update there. And I'm just before this, I was actually I was going to test the the voltage, like the maximum distance I can do, like with a
Hmm.
multimeter. But then 10 p.m. came, so I'm probably going to do this after the podcast.
Okay. I hope you can actually do that. So talking
I
about
think
his
I think it
watch,
will. Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about his watch, a friend of mine is trying to bring in 5 units of. Remember that we meet Tristan. Remember that we meet Jim.
Yeah.
He want to bring
Mm-hmm.
the five unit of the sensor unit
Mm-hmm.
with the M5 unit together. So he actually I'm getting one. He might have a few extra. Just ping
Mm-hmm.
us if you want it. So what happened is it's a slightly different sensor, but it still measure PM 2.5 particles. So that one is very easy to set up. We can reuse some of our code. I need to rewrite some of the code because it's a different sensor, but I think I might get one. Then whoever that wants it, that. But the thing is, it's not exactly the cheapest thing around.
Yeah. So I think the aim is to have like a few implementations up,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
then maybe run it for like a week or two with like
yeah,
the levels, and then start opening up the API so
yeah.
that more and more people can start submitting with the
Correct,
sample code, or like doing their own thing, right? Well, we just
correct.
need something to prove that it's working, it's
Yes,
measuring stuff, and that
yeah,
most of the logistics, like, okay, how do we send location, for example, how do we
yeah.
identify users, for example, then those are
Hmm.
already ironed out, and then we can start doing it. So it's shaping up, I think.
Yes,
I should be able to deploy mine, for example, over the Raya
yeah.
holidays.
So and also the specification had it's not a specification. It's more like the current sensor already sending a UID using MAC address. So maybe you can do
Hmm.
that too. We figure out the
So
spec
mine
later.
is a bit different though, because I'm not sending directly. I am using MQTT to
Yeah.
send to Pi Zero. So most likely I will send the MAC of the Pi Zero instead of the sensor. I don't know if
Actually, it
that makes
doesn't
a
really
difference.
matter. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Okay, if you have actually yes and no. The reason why you have a UID for each devices, each sensor is so that you can check, you can diagnose.
Ah,
It's an IP address for different computers, right? So
okay. So maybe I
it's
can
hard for
get
you to
some. Yeah, I'll probably get some kind of UID. There should be some UID for the ESP32. Then I can just send that over and then
MAC
forward
address.
yeah, okay. Let the zero forward
Yeah,
that UID from the ESP32. All
yeah,
right. I'll figure it out.
yes. So I think it's shaping up. Stress test is ready. Uh, my sensor have been crashy, but we are stress testing as we speak. Actually,
We're doing 5 minutes per
yeah,
data point, right?
yeah. I'm doing
At
five
least five
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, you guys can actually be more because I can compress it. I
Oh,
can get
It,
okay.
like
it doesn't make
100
sense.
compressions.
Well, now because I don't have any power issues now, right? I was actually thinking of every 20 minutes just so that I can sleep more, but because I don't have
Yeah,
any power issues, I can do it like every 1 minute, for example.
yes. I don't have a good number for that, but I think 5 minutes is good enough
Yep.
because we don't have
It's much
that
better than
drastic of a
it's already much better than the official one.
yeah.
What's the official one?
So
Official one is actually 1 hour, but I
yeah,
think they actually removed the averaging. I'm
Oh,
not sure. Last time
so
they
they
were averaging.
so they just do a sample of one and then for
Yeah,
every
but
hour.
also depends on the location. I think their location is a bit not so
Mm.
accurate.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
But the catch is the current one that I'm testing right now is at home. But the only good thing is when nobody at home, my house is not totally sealed, meaning there is still open windows somewhere that bring air in. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but it's not the best measurement. I need to put it near a window without people stealing it. I figured that out. I still need to figure out the logistics. I definitely
Mhm.
cannot put it outside simply because there's no power plug outside.
Well, you're going to be solving the same problem as I do.
Yeah, true, but
But this is like
I had a
25,
potential spot. So
25
notice the
ringgit in
window.
Cyprus.
Notice the windows at the back. I think it's possible to pull the power a bit further, then put it on the chair so that nobody can steal it. Then it's just nice. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, why will someone steal such a thing? They won't even
But
be
people
able to
steal
resell the
views.
thing.
We use
Yeah,
it.
that's the
Wheels
thing.
are
Yeah,
useful.
because you can sell them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably sell an N5 stack thing, but who's going to buy it?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, I know.
whoever sells it, like, okay, this is cool. It's like, oh, what is this? It's like
Yes.
a
because it's
Game
cool.
Boy that doesn't work or it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. But either way, I have some spot. I guess procrastinating about installing. And also, the window is pretty far, so I can't pull power too far from somewhere else. I figured out from there. Maybe there's a way. Oh well.
So
So
what?
anything else that's interesting?
No.
No, yeah. So we'll lead into your to the topic, right?
Yeah,
Complexities. Like,
yeah. You have a lot of complaints this week.
yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, I have a lot of
we're
complaints.
ready. We're ready.
I have a lot. Boy, I have a lot of
Not
complaints.
yet the weekend. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, actually, I've been lost about my career for some time, but that's another story.
Mhm.
This one about complexity is actually inspired by Agile KL meetup happening on Monday last Monday. He saw Agile Agile Malaysia managed to bring in a speaker from Australia. Was it Australia or Canada? Dave Thomas.
I
Uh,
mean, they're all the same, right? Canada, Australia, US.
okay, so
It sounds the same
uh,
to me. Sorry.
yes,
I
but
mean, they all look the same.
this
I'm
Dave
just
Thomas
kidding.
is very interesting in a lot of way. He used to be part of the team that built Eclipse. He part of the IBM
Ah,
object group. He do computing, not IT. Remember, it's computing since the at least the 60s and 70s, and
so he's
published
an
a lot of
old
papers.
timer.
Yes, and he published papers on small talk and stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
he actually
the object-oriented programming pioneers.
yeah. So, but yet, yes, his talk is about why do we, and you would think that he would talk about abstraction and all that, right? It's totally opposite. His question to us as a software developer goes this way: why do we keep adding complexity to our software project?
Hmm.
Then he gave an example that in certain often when we it's okay I disagree with his approach to solving complicated problem using a thing called decision table. Do you know what is decision table?
Yeah, so you have all of your inputs,
Yeah,
and then you have your situations, and then you just draw a line. Okay, this is what happens, and this is the
correct
situation, and
correct
you have
correct
a
correct, correct.
good.
So his argument is most of the business case can be modeled using decision tables. With a smart interpreter you do not need to write a lot of code and all that.
In a way,
Mm-hmm.
it's true.
Why do we
Well,
add more
it becomes simple,
complexity?
right? You
Yeah,
don't
for
you
BI.
pre-decide everything
Yeah,
on an ideal mindset. Like it's the ideal
And
mind situation, and then so that when the stressful situation comes, you don't have to pre-decide. You don't have to decide on the spot with bad decisions. You just refer to
correct.
your previous
And
self at
also,
that table.
and one might feel skeptical about like can it be so easy? And turns out that him not just as a long timer with papers, he actually had very recent production project on big data scale, which use similar approach, right? So then it's like, but the question, it still leads back to the question, how complex is your software, right? It's your project. Think about it.
I think most business software are not complex.
Yes, technically it's not. But then why is it that we do so many things on our UI and all that, right? Why is it that every time I go to JavaScript meetup, it feels like why are we spending 45 minutes talking about state management, for example, for React? So why are we?
Probably because it's new and not a lot of people know about it. Like,
Yeah, but okay.
I feel that because I would say that people new to JavaScript or React in general, um, so I've seen a lot of React code,
Mm-hmm,
and I remember a lot of the PHP 3.0 days where you
mm-hmm,
have your HTML and then you have your executing logic in the
mm-hmm.
middle of HTML. So
Yes.
it really brings me back to those days, like where okay, what happened to the separation, right? So a lot of people write React like that, and state management is a way, it's like a pattern to start keeping out the things that make things change from the things
Mm-hmm.
that do change, so that it's
Yep.
easier um to test them. It's easier to make sense of what is affecting what. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's like the cycle that we've been talking to over and over, right? Like people in
Yep.
C++ have solved this, which then Java people rediscover this, and
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
then the PHP
I
people
think
rediscover this,
I
the
think
Python's Ruby, and now JavaScript people are
yep.
discovering this.
I think because JavaScript is still a bit new, like just like Tristan said, they are in the middle of discovering things. Like even like the way how like Redux and stuff work, they are similar. If especially coming from Smalltalk, is similar to some of the state management that Smalltalk went through last time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like people discovering paradigm and how to use them in that current uh,
like
language.
like higher ordered components, for example, it's
Mm-hmm.
so fancy, but it's actually just factories of components. Instead of
Yeah.
like you create stuff in, and then out comes
Yeah,
some object
yeah.
that has
It's
something
just
that has extra
yeah, it's
stuff.
encapsulation while closer is instead of object.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
Hmm.
But during the
But it's
talk,
the concepts are the same. It's like the whole thing. Yep. Sorry, during the talk.
during the talk when he present business logic as decision tables, I also can't help to talk about like why are we okay? What is the situation? What in day to day operate code that we actually written, where the abstraction lies, right? Actually, the first one
Hmm.
is the web. So I've been thinking a bit that maybe the business logic side is pretty simple. What complicated is the technology. Is the abstraction on top of HTTP, for example, that we almost never touch, correct? So where is I'm actually thinking where the complexity is. Why are we writing code the way we are? Why is it that when we change a framework, when we change a version of the framework, why is it that when we change a version of the framework, despite the same-ish business rules, that we ends up we write a lot of those part as well. Something I think about from there, something I get from there as well. And one of the things he laments is that uh, why is it that you kids change your framework every 6 months?
I think it's because
Those
they are discover.
code.
I don't know if it's
I
And it's
posted something on the YouTube chat which answers
Yeah,
exactly what Siming is asking. Like it's from Uncle Bob, where like, and I quoted here, it means that most software organizations will have to endlessly relearn the lessons they learned 5 years before. It means that
put
the
it this
industry as a
way.
whole will remain dominated by novices.
Put it this way, like even like how gonna be off topic a bit. Even like how certain how it work, like as in like when person in us like a senior person trying to tell us what is right or not. When we are teenagers, we just ignore it until we
yeah,
yeah. It's I think it's the
Until
same phase that go
yeah.
through. Even for countries, they have this mistake of repeating, not having to repeat and face the same issue. Then they realize that they did it wrong. So I think
Yeah.
I think it's a in a way it's not that it's really bad, but the what can that the it's a
It
bit of
could be
wastefulness.
a
Yeah,
it could be a function of the lifespan of humanity of a human being, right?
yeah,
Because used to be like 35 you die because like there's no
mhm,
healthcare
yeah,
basically, right? So that's why it's important for you to be reproductive at 18
yeah,
and
yeah,
then go reproduce, because at 35, 40 you're probably not die of old age but by like something like tuberculosis
yeah.
or
But
pneumonia or something,
so
right?
according to you're not wrong, but actually there is also partially wrong as well because software development is a middle class work, and middle class those days last as live as long as us actually,
Yeah,
somewhat
so
close enough.
but see, on the article that Bob Martin was writing, like software engineering really started only in the 1960s, and
Yes,
look at like in terms of lifespan changes, it's like a very slow evolution. What you've learned in the 1960s is not necessarily like the people who've learned them have probably already died by this time,
yeah,
and so like not a lot of, and at that point there is not the whole software engineering practice, and so there's not really people to teach to.
yeah.
It's
It,
only recently that we
it's
are having this exponential growth of developers, that oh, we're transferring knowledge now to more
yeah.
and more people, and so this knowledge becomes embodied and becomes actually part of the knowledge such that it can be transferred over. And that's why people are relearning things and rediscovering the books from the 1980s that
yeah,
people have been writing, right?
yeah. But then that's not true. But also why they have to discover after the event. I had a very interesting conversation with uh, fresh recently start fresh lah. Let's call it fresh software developer. He joined a startup, and the first question he asked is what library. So we talk about decision tables. That so what I have on my mind is state machines. He's talking about state machines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's asking about what library is it? Like, is he talking about Redux or
Mm-hmm.
No,
whatever, right? You think
I think
about
basically he got his foundation wrong. It's not about
yes,
basically it's just it's at a wrong foundation because what because I think it's go back to like similarly the argument about bootcamp where they teach you on certain tools to solve your certain issues. So
yes,
I think that is a mindset that some people need to unlearn.
Yeah, I
and
wouldn't say
actually,
it's wrong though.
Yeah,
yeah, it's not wrong, but
Yeah,
the
I
thing
saw.
is,
So,
the discussion at that time is the first thing he prompted himself is, I use AI. So the first thing he talked about is buzzword, and then he tried to replace fundamentals of these issues with more buzzword. Is it
yeah,
cloud?
so
Is it
I
whatever? You know what I mean?
yeah, so here's the thing, right? What so I would say that's part of the life cycle of
yeah,
learning in
Yeah.
software development. It's like JPEG, progressive JPEG. You have a very wide like the first download is like it's very blocky, but you
Mhm.
generally have an idea of what you're seeing. And then the
Yes.
more and more you download the JPEG, then the more clear, and the more the pixels are actually, the resolution is getting better, right? Because it again it comes back towards being human. Is that you're doing something because it solves something, and which is why boot camps would do like you have this problem, you use this library, you have this problem, you use this library, because
Yeah.
that's with the Pavlovian response, right? Like, oh, it
Yes.
feels good to solve something, I'll do more of this, do more of this, do more of this,
Mm.
until you start getting familiar
Hopefully,
with
yeah.
this, and then you start, hopefully, yeah. And then the problem is people get stuck in that stage and they don't progress to the next stage, where not really unlearning, but actually going deeper. Like,
Mm.
why do I have to use this library? Why does this library do things in a certain way? Right? What is
Yes.
the library actually trying to solve? And because we are pattern matching in organisms, like, what is the pattern that this library trying to encapsulate? And can I
Yes.
apply this pattern to a different part that I have never experienced before, and will it
Yes.
work? And I guess this is something that we can talk about in in junior dev my, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's why is experience so important, is because the more experience you have, the more patterns you have
Mm.
Yeah.
to compare with new situations. Because in software engineering, you're never going to face like previously done stuff, otherwise it would have been already automated. So it's, you're
Mhm.
always facing new things, and that pattern database that you've encountered throughout your life as a developer is what's needed over there. The problem again is like what you're saying, what Swimming is saying, is that, oh, what AI buzzwords, etc., is that they never actually transitioned into the next stage of going back into the fundamentals, actually understanding what they're trying to do. So I guess it's just a different perspective. I'm not saying that uh, it's a like that it's wrong, and I wouldn't say it's wrong to go to the buzzwords, but more like it's lack of understanding of what it is that they're trying to solve. And so it's more like
Yeah.
I have this problem, do this, I have this problem, do this, without understanding why was the decision tree set up like that.
Yeah. So
Sorry, my
I think
expression
it's a,
is
I think
not
it's
there
a,
because this is dead.
I think it's an opportunity
If
for Swimming to do his content and stuff. So you'll be a
yeah.
guru of. I think it's time that when you realize a problem, you are the expert already.
yeah,
Like
but the thing
Yeah.
is,
that's what I try to say.
I'm not I'm not very clear about the problem, other than the fact that the way we build software is very weird. When
Put it
to
this way,
get
uh,
I think it's like because you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of patterns, and I think I it can be very frustrating for you to see all of these kids like falling over when they can just do it like with something else, right? Like, why are they even trying this
no,
out?
it's
This
more
is
like
proven to be not working.
it less toward kids stumbling upon. I rather people fall because that's how you learn. But you have to listen and don't pound more buzzword on top of me.
Yeah, and on the comments, Chris was saying that there's no one single answer to one problem, and I guess that's what Swimming is talking about, right? The decision
Yeah.
tree matrix does recommend this particular solution given this
Yeah.
input and given this situation, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's what you're like complaining about, that
No, no, no.
the decision make the decision
It's not
matrix
really that.
helps. Yeah, the decision matrix helps, but it simplifies the thing too much that it takes away the actual fundamentals.
I think in the talk he's a bit biased, but but he asked a very right question. Uh,
Hmm.
what make our software complicated? That's my question. I don't have a good answer yet. Is it because we? Yeah.
I think it's uncertainty. Most of the
Yes.
time, we act like people don't know what the software needs to do,
yep.
and
Yeah.
so we have an assumption of what it should do. We code according to that assumption, and then the goalposts change.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
at the same time, we have this problem of I forgot what the economic term was, where you already bought it, so you might as well have to use it or something.
No.
Sunk
Sunk
cost
cost
Yeah.
fallacy.
fallacy.
Suckers
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
You have because you've already done it. I might as well,
Yeah.
instead of starting over because the goalposts have moved in a
I
different
think
direction,
also
I'll
it's
just build on top of it.
I think it's also like similarly happened to a lot of cases that people don't know what they try to solve, though they over abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you try to then you, because abstraction comes with complexity and also with more cost. But
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think there's a hidden lesson there that we didn't catch. It just remind me. Yes, they use a decision matrix, a decision table to make decision. I think that's an example. That's
I think if you
but
have, I think you have a decision table for a for your business. It means that your
yeah,
business is pretty much well defined, which is not.
correct,
I think this is not.
precisely,
Yeah,
precisely. In this case, you generally had an idea what you want
yeah,
to do, right?
yeah,
Uh, and also one of the final thing that actually it's not final, but it's there is that occasionally in a business they already had a spreadsheet that describe what a thing should be calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we use that? For example, that's one of the question we hold that. Why do we, as a software developer, force business a product owner to write it in Puppet? Not Puppet. Cucumber.
Cucumber. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of just we figure out the spreadsheet. Actually, the answer is that because spreadsheet are black box, it's hard to integrate.
I think cucumber is
But
different thing. Cucumber is
no, no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, it's different. But he's asking the question. You had a pretty much usable logic. It's
Yeah.
not perfect, but it's pretty usable on the spreadsheet with all the macros and stuff, right? So his argument is that in some business, I know I heard a lot of business that actually do that, had their business defined on a spreadsheet. That's how they run the business. Why
Yeah,
is
which
it
is
that?
great.
Yeah, but why is it that we still do not? We still avoid a number of us, including me, uh, run away from the spreadsheet, but do not actually take that spreadsheet out and use it as our test case somehow.
So I tried that in a previous job. The
Yeah,
problem is that if the problem was that the product owners don't want to fill in the situations. They feel that it's a programmer's job, which
yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
a very frustrating experience to tell them, hey, look, give me
Yeah.
the
I
specs.
think.
This is a spreadsheet.
I
How
think.
do you
Yeah.
calculate MRR
I
the
think.
way you
See,
want it to calculate? But why are you just like, okay, I draw you a graph and you just assume
No,
that it's
no, no.
correct,
You have
and
a
you don't
different
even know how
case.
it was
I think for
calculated,
the
right?
case that is similar to what I say just now. If business user are actually filling up the spreadsheet, I'll be really happy.
Yeah,
Like it will be very easy to develop as well.
because it occurs
Yeah,
to me that if you don't have it, then maybe you do not want it, right? But
yeah,
if you already have it, I'm happy to have it. But for some reason,
yeah,
I do not see the best practice that
yeah,
says they use the spreadsheet. Know what I mean?
yeah. I
So
think yeah, cucumber is for me is actually for the user to fill up what they want to test. I mean, for me,
yeah,
it's not much about QA. I mean,
yeah,
it's about like it's
Documentation, right?
yeah documentation for the end user, like because it's not actually a programming language for some,
yeah.
not cucumber, but for some DSL it actually very high level, so it's for
Mm.
them to document what they want and what they expected.
So the reasoning behind Cucumber is documentation that is specific enough that a
Yeah,
computer can automatically execute it and
yeah,
have a
Mhm.
response whether
yeah,
it's doing the right thing or not. So it's
yeah,
like
Yeah.
very, very specific documentation.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
the rationale. Personally, I don't like Cucumber because it's too much of like, at least with the projects that I'm using, it's too much
Yeah.
of like an
I actually
abstraction.
prefer a spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
but only if they can fill it up nicely.
Yeah.
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 So, but so what I took from that question, right?
Also,
Why do we?
I need
Yeah.
to put it in because a lot of the time when we assume that we're gonna push the cucumber to the project people, it actually doesn't work that way because I mean normal people they don't think the because I've tried to teach people like how to program and stuff. What I notice is the 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 mindset to break down a problem and to explain it is actually needs to be, it's actually some sort of things that has to be trained. Is
Mhm.
if you can break down a problem, you're basically a programmer already. Yeah.
Yes.
So for business user, it's actually even though it looks good, yeah, it's a natural language like kind of thing to describe a problem and what you need, but it's
Mm.
actually the process of breaking down the problem is actually not suitable for them.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Google tried to fix this. They actually have an educational course
Mm.
called computational thinking, which exactly tells you how do you break a problem into
Yeah.
parts and how do you detect the pattern. You have a hypothesis, is the pattern, how do you apply it, how do you apply the pattern to a different type of situation. So Google is trying to solve this as well. It's not just us that's
Yeah.
having this problem.
It's
I
finding the sweet spot where it's. I think it's not one size fit all. It's whatever that fits the people in the company.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so visit the link. I put it on the YouTube chat.
Yep.
um
Yeah.
and it's
And I also share a
computational
link
thinking
on.
by Google.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay,
actually
cool.
an opportunity for Simi to write his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how to run. But
We
I
should
also
take a
share a link on the
sabbatical and
cargo
then do
cow.
that. Hmm?
I show a link to a YouTube channel about cargo cow, which is actually the extreme form of just
I
following
think, did you
things.
share it?
Yeah. Cargo cow is
Where
very
where is
cool.
it? Yeah, but where
It's on
is it
YouTube.
on?
I need to show you guys. You.
Did you paste it on the chat?
No, I
I
need
don't
to
think
Yeah.
you.
approve it. I need to approve it because I'm
Oh, okay.
right now. Yeah.
Ah.
So okay, now I think the my takeaway from the question from that is not decision table or whatever. Is
Mm-hmm.
goes back to the question. Why the complexity? What do we spend time on? Why do our software seems complicated? Because I go to for example, when I go to a JavaScript meetup, things that looks clear seems complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Convoluted.
Uh, in a way,
So that's my thing. It's a question
I'll try
that
to defend the
answers.
JavaScript people. I think they are just discovering, and it's
Yeah.
actually already getting much better nowadays.
Yeah. But it's not just
So,
JavaScript, right?
yeah.
Web frameworks, most Python one is like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like why
Yeah,
encapsulate object on
but
the object on the object.
It sounds a
yeah,
bit.
but you see, things are like, so since Rails, things are like generally going through this pattern of like what Rails started. So like the knowledge is getting like shared more and more. Like best practices are getting shared more and more.
Yeah.
And it all started with like, okay, now you have Rails. Now you have like Django, which is like kind of like Rails. You have Express, which is it
Yeah.
Express? Yeah, Express, which is just kind of like Rails. Elixir is like very similar. Like all of these things are now
Yeah.
learning from the best practices of Rails, improving on top of it. What Rails couldn't do,
Let
they
me
are now doing
let me,
better.
let me add something because it hits pretty much at home. It's a bit apologetic to Golang, but you see, because Golang doesn't introduce this kind of complexity, and people bitch about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is,
Because you have to
Golang.
type so much. Like I just want to get something to
Yeah.
work, and I have to type everything.
No.
You know,
Actually, there is another thing. I want to also talk about complexity. The last thing
where's
I
the
really want.
magic?
Sometimes what
Yeah.
we think is easy is not easy for other people.
Mm.
What we think type is easy is not clear to other people. How,
I think that answer your question of why think people are trying to do things that are going.
yeah, but I don't have a strong answer. That's the problem. I had a question,
I
but I
think
don't have a
it's
strong answer.
up to people are discovering their preference until we have a predefined set of like path to choose. Just like when you start a new character in a MMO, before that
Yeah.
people are gonna just do whatever they want.
So it's like an evolution of things, right?
Yeah.
Evolution of opinions.
Yeah.
The best opinions eventually survive, and the opinions that were cool but are not actually
Yeah.
like they don't survive. They
Because if
just like
it's
get forgotten.
it's like similar to evolution, like that people will like things will evolve and stuff, and you could be like
Yeah.
selected, like you'll be eliminated. So I think we're still in a pretty early stage in like computing and also like software engineering. So it'll be interesting. It's actually interesting time for us.
Yeah, it's interesting indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thing lah.
Yeah.
So anything interesting online? Actually watching.
Not so much.
Oh,
Yeah, so we have Chris, we have Nicholas, we have
yeah,
I
do
don't
not complain but
know.
find a solution. That's the thing, right? You can ask me a complexity. I do not have an answer for you. A lot of people are saying that you had a problem. Find a problem solution.
Sometimes I do this to swimming as well, but I actually not like I'm telling swimming to shut up and not to complain. It's
Yeah.
actually I want to because in a way, like I'm trying to encourage people to create content, because if you know the problem, you're the expert. So that's an opportunity and, for Swimming to write his book. I will pay for it.
I don't even know what to write about.
You know, you should take a sabbatical of 3 months and then just write the book.
Oh, turns out that I got 22-day leaves that I do not know what to use it for.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, just write the book.
Do something for fun, like not really. It's related to what you're familiar with, but you're not writing a software. So in a way, you're still having a rest, but you just write a very, like, treat it as a, if you want to complain, treat it like you're gonna write a complaint that people will pay for.
Yeah.
22 days is like a full working month,
Yeah.
So 22 days is like a full working month, and if you include Saturday, Sunday, that's a full 31 days. You'll be able to complete your book by that time, at least the first draft.
Let's see how it goes. So I think that's about that. That's about it for me.
Yeah, that's about it for me as well for this week, I guess.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good topic. A lot of updates and stuff.
Yep. So I think we try not to ponting next month.
Next week, next month is next week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are too like, in a way, like
we have too much fun.
Yeah. Too much fun, and you have to take a break from it. Yeah. But
and also I promise people offline that we try to do some DevKami shots with focus topic.
Yeah, let's try to do that. Like we can expand on some of the things that because DevKami, the usual DevKami show is not supposed to be planned. So
then we can have like recorded focused stuff.
Yeah.
So
this
one, for example,
higher quality.
This one is the next project I'm doing after Haze Watch. It's DG Spark 80 Tiny 85, which you can do. Yeah, it's small. It's like the size of my thumb, and it's a virtual USB. So that means I can emulate a keyboard, and I'm actually going to use the M5 Stick C as a clicker. So that's the next project. I can plug this into the computer, have a receiver like a 433 megahertz receiver on like behind it, and the same thing, the transmitter on the M5 Stick C, and then I'll do it like a clicker during presentations, so that when we do presentations, then you have a clicker, which is cool as well. Like you have their DIY clicker, right? So
I know,
I'll probably do
so most people ask like, why do what you write? Because it's fun. Also, it can't effect, but it's fun.
It's fun, and this also where, like before, like what we were talking about, right? The shift of, okay, do this when you get that, do this, do that. Like I need a clicker, buy a clicker. But I want to understand, how does the signal go from there to here? And so you have like all of these amplitude modulation, different types of encoding with a carrier signal. So you start understanding what exactly is happening. And then now you realize, actually, I can control the car alarm as well. I can snoop in on the signals, copy it, and then like redo the same signal, and then the whatever microcontrollers inside the car that turns off the alarm is probably going to not even know the difference because it's not encoded, right? So all of these things like gives you an understanding of the world in a different perspective because you have more of the fundamentals. So that's why I'm doing this personally, because I want to move to that particular mindset, like where I understand the fundamentals of just things that is happening.
That should be one of the topic one day. Doing things and stuff like that. We talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. It's already 11 plus.
Yep.
Let's wrap up.
So Nicholas reminds us, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps the channel be like more. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm actually works.
But subscribe to us, click the bell. Hopefully there's more subscribers and people like us. And
there are more actually gradually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we're growing a little at a time. I think it's cool. Let's not worry about being viral. Just have fun.
You want viral? You can have some topic to make you viral if you want. But I'm not sure if you can handle heat.
Yes.
Swimming apology videos are viral, more viral than the local.
You get more views and stuff than the rest of others. Yep.
So I think that's it. I think I'm prepared to go off there.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Hussein is here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.